curious. Kind of comparing this to Tina Fey. This one had 3,500 at 7.2. What is that called? No, not Tina Fey.
I was like, what are you? Eyes of Tammy Faye?
Eyes of Tammy Faye.
Hello, everyone. We're the Continuity Crew. I'm Will.
I'm Spencer.
No, that's Win. And
That's
today,
not far, though.
we're back. No, we're starting. This is a big feature film review, BFF review.
Yeah.
So we're going to talk about Spencer today, starring Kristen Stewart, directed by Pablo
Lorraine, I think.
Lorraine. Yeah,
No.
he did that one movie,
Jackie.
Yeah,
I
haven't
saw that
seen
recently.
it. You said that was pretty okay.
It was all right.
So, starring Kristen Stewart, it is about Princess Diana and her trip to big ass fucking castle on a Christmas holiday and with the royal family, and kind of her struggle, and like, because we would know kind of very little about her life. There's all conspiracies and stuff, and like,
We know, well, at least from back then, they had interviews, a lot of interviews about how she was struggling inside the palace and how she was struggling with this royal family shit, and how they're like, basically, it was very isolating, which was this movie.
Yes.
What this movie was depicting, the isolation. So it was like in her mind, like a
Yes.
look into her mind kind of movie.
So, before we get into the review, make sure you subscribe and click the note bell, all that
Subscribe.
good stuff.
It's not expensive. It's free.
It is free. Go watch some of our other reviews. We've got new movies every week, all that good stuff. So, technical stuff. What'd you think, Quinn? What you think of Spencer?
The movie looked beautiful.
It was gorgeous.
It was in a format that I haven't seen before. It was 5:3,
Is
at
that
least
what
in a
that
big
is?
movie theater.
Okay.
Yeah, it's 166. But anyways,
So that's black bars on the side instead of
just
the
a
top.
little bit. Yeah, just
Yeah,
a tad.
just-
That's what this director seems to rely on, or this is what he goes to. Because like in Jackie, it was also 5:3,
That's interesting.
which I've never seen a movie like with a 5:3.
I mean,
so.
it's kind of at first, I almost didn't even notice. I mean, it took me probably a couple of minutes in, and I was like, oh, those are not where they normally are. So that,
Yeah.
and they definitely used it to the advantage of the movie and the storytelling. This is one movie, I will say, like on the technical side, like it's shot amazingly. It's amazing filmmaking. It's probably one of my favorites this year of just like the filmmaking side.
I love the way it looked.
Yes.
It was very different. It's not something that I've seen, and it's not really a camera that I'm familiar with. So when I saw it, I was like, is this real film or is this digital?
It did look. It had like that graininess to it. I really liked that, and it made it feel kind of the time as well as just looking pretty. Oh
Yeah, I love the color palette that they had with Kristen Stewart's costume.
yes, the
Um,
costuming solid.
She was always the bold one in every shot. So like, you like skim through it, and it's always like bright red,
Mhm.
bright blue, bright yellow, something green.
Yeah, and that's like the point too. It's supposed to be her story and talking about Kristen Stewart as Princess Diana.
And it is her style back then too.
Yeah,
She had a great fashion sense back then.
yeah. And the royal family necessarily didn't like that. So, but the movie itself, it follows Princess Diana on this holiday and like how she struggles with all that. And I think I mentioned this in a previous episode. I'm a sucker for any like mental health stuff, and she was definitely probably had some sort of like depression, and it probably was there or came from just being in this under this microscope. I think that's even like said in the movie, and I really liked that. It was just a good character story as well.
For anyone who's older, who's lived through the 90s and 80s, they'd probably be familiar with Princess Diana because she was a very famous person, like very famous.
Yeah, she influenced the West as like fashion, even like America's, and it's crazy because like typically, I mean, the royal family, we're just kind of over here in America, we're like,
They don't like Americans all that much.
we know the Queen's like old as heck, so
Yeah, no, she's a very influential person. Apparently,
Yes.
I didn't know this, but on her death, I think 2 billion people watched it on TV. I have never heard that before. And her
yeah, I guess that would make sense. I mean, you think because like Britain has a big influence on like India. I mean,
they do.
and just like America's. She had a big influence. So I believe it. It's pretty
She's
crazy.
what they call the people's princess. I think that's what they said. That's why she's such a big. She was like an under this microscope because of the what do you call that? Because of the controversial shit she did.
Yes,
where it was almost like it was against the
crown,
the family.
and that's even mentioned in the movie, and it's honestly it sums up the movie really well. Her husband, who I don't know, but anyways, he says like you have to like live two lives. You have to be like the one you show to the camera essentially, and one that you are yourself. And it kind of shows in her life how she like had this life, but then she's put into like a big scale of like being a princess and always being watched and stuff. And it's they really go into that in the movie, like the having the cameras and stuff always watching her, or people on the grounds where they were at trying to get pictures of her, like when they said the curtains were open and she's like, I don't see the issue, and they're like, well, you can't be changing and people see you. And I think about that now. I mean, it's kind of topical today. Like that's just, I mean, celebrities always get their picture taken whether they want to or not.
Yeah, this movie really showed the royal family is like this really stoic and really cold
like
people.
And like there's tradition, which I get, but also like don't be such a dick.
Yeah, I think they just have such a high expectations to.
And I honestly, I would guess it was probably worse for her because I mean, I would assume they probably held back maybe a little. I don't know how much. I'm assuming we don't know too much since they are a secluded family, but because you don't want to know, like there are the conspiracies of like they got her killed and stuff like that.
Yeah.
But I think it could have been worse. But I mean, how they did the movie it's her story. It's Princess Diana, and like other characters matter, but it's her, and
it's weird how away this is from like how distant this was from like her death, but still kind of mention it in the movie.
Yeah, it's very it's meta in a sense.
It's very
it's self-aware.
It's more like they're like what is it? They're hinting at it towards it, especially the security guard guy. He was
with the book. That was a little on the nose, but I was like, yeah.
But there are people who talk about how she already knew that she was gonna die or some shit like that. So yeah, this movie, this is far from a regular movie.
I would say it's almost a little far from like your typical biopic movie because it takes place over 3 days, and typically it's like over the person's life. And I mean, even if you could, I would say this is a biopic. I mean, it is her story, even though it is just these 3 days, and we know what's happened.
I think this is a fiction.
It's
like a fable.
It's the fable of but it's still
I don't know. I'm really confused if this was like an actual like account that they found.
I don't know.
Or if this was like, because like there is a lot of different documentaries about her. One, for example, is like Princess Diana something that was on Netflix a while ago. Her own words, that's it. And she was talking like a narration kind of style.
Oh, that's cool. To be honest, I don't know much besides like the conspiracy stuff and like how she died and like how popular she was. So it felt kind of funny because you said like the review, it's like going in blind was not to your advantage.
Yeah.
And that makes sense. Like I knew enough to kind of pick up what was being put down, but it was interesting. But overall, I think the movie's really good. It's really pretty. Any like favorite shots, favorite characters, favorite?
I don't really have a favorite anything for this movie. I was just really baffled by how weird and different this was.
It's intense. This movie.
It is.
I honestly probably have a lot. I think like one of my favorite things was like the score. It's jazz. It's so like offbeat and like all over the place, and I loved that because it makes you like on the edge of your seat and uneasy in these scenes that you're supposed to feel that. So that's where they use the score to like play the part of like actually making you feel that without even having to look on the screen, as well as just like the cinematography. It's gorgeous. I loved it. One of my favorite characters that wasn't Princess Diana would be the cook, Sean Harris. I don't remember his name in the movie, but he's the bad guy in Mission Impossible.
Chef Boyardee.
Yeah, he was. I liked him. He was kind of almost like her conscience in a way, and I really liked that.
Or like her old, like what in those games, video games, where there's like always that old guy that knows everything.
Just like the old wise man.
Yeah,
like
basically.
Try to keep you down to earth type deal. I really liked his character, even though like not oh my god, not many characters had like screen time besides her, as well as near the end of the movie where they kind of like show her earlier life, and she's having that crisis like with the pearls on the top of the steps. Like that whole scene I really liked. But this movie's great.
I think I guess a favorite would be the performance for Kristen Stewart.
Yeah, that's was my next topic, but like definitely Oscar bait in the sense that like she's probably gonna get nominated for like this performance. I mean, this movie I wouldn't necessarily call Oscar bait. I think it was just a really well made and good movie.
I would call it Oscar bait.
I hear you, but also like it's
got everything that Oscars would love.
It's true, but I don't feel like it was made for that reason, like how an Oscar.
Oh no, for sure, no. I don't think it was.
I think it was just a really well made movie, and so I personally really enjoyed that. I
regurgitated a lot of shit. Like interviews from her from Princess Diana, and like the way she walked and all that, and like just a bunch of shit about her. I think Kristen Stewart nailed it.
Yeah,
I was very surprised.
Because I heard she had been casted maybe like 2 years ago. I'm like, that's interesting. And then like they showed the first picture of her. I'm like, oh my god, that is Princess Diana. Like they like the look, like the makeup and stuff, also great. I could see this getting a nod for like costuming as well. So really loved it though. Good for you, Kristen Stewart.
Yeah, this is probably my favorite of her. I haven't seen her in many.
I'm trying to think of something else, but I'd probably say the same.
She did an insane job. She got the way she talked, the way Princess Diana talked, the way she moved, and even that head tilting thing. I thought that was just a Kristen Stewart thing, but I guess Princess Diana also did it, and I didn't know that because like it's a princess, so I've always thought that we're trained to like
be
stiff or like be like always.
That's why they don't like
always standing up, but she did what Princess Diana did, every little movement. I think as far as the interviews that I've seen, the way she talked and just the way she would pronounce things, because that's definitely one thing that just bothered me a little bit in the movie. Was it was always like, oh yeah, pause, pause, and then like it would. I didn't know that was a thing that Princess Diana did, but I guess that is something that is the way that she talked. So I was just really after the movie, because I mentioned this to you before or after we watched it. I was like, Kristen Stewart, I'm not feeling it, and then I watched a bunch of shit from Princess Diana. Yeah, I could see it. Yeah.
Yeah, I don't know that much about Princess Diana, but like I was sold on it regardless of like knowing how she moved or whatever and all that. So I really, really enjoyed it. But on that note, let's get to our ratings. We do 2 ratings here. We do critical and entertainment, 1 out of 10, 1 being the worst, 10 being the best. We'll start with critical. When?
Critically, I liked it a lot, so I'm gonna say 8.5 to 9.
Okay.
Can't decide yet. I might watch it again. Actually, I might watch this again.
Yeah, this is one of the. I was thinking about that once we got out of the showing, but I was like, this is one of the few movies in a while that I'm like, I want to see this again because it's not too long. That's been one thing about the movies we've been seeing recently. They're like 2.5, and I'm like, I got it, and they're like not good enough to go see again. So I will. I agree. I'm gonna give it a 9. I think it's up there with some of my favorite movies this year, like Green Knight. This kind of reminded me in a sense of like how just well made in the filmmaking sense it is, and like I'm giving it a 9 out of 10 for critically. We'll move on to entertainment.
This was probably a 10.
10. Yeah, I'm gonna say the same. It's really good. I I think this is probably in my top 5 for this year.
Curious. Kind of comparing this to Tina Fey. This one had 3,500 at 7.2. What is that called? No, not Tina Fey.
I was like, what are you? Eyes of Tammy Faye?
Eyes of Tammy Faye. Eyes of Tammy Faye. 2.9, 6.8. So I guess that.
What did it have on? What was Spencer?
Spencer had 7.5 at 3.
And I'd say like a good half of those reviews are like, I just don't get it. I don't like it.
Yeah, probably.
We did have like a whole family walk out on our showing. Remember?
Yeah, and also apparently this is a thing that people did. I was looking at reviews. There's this one guy in particular. I don't remember his name, but he was talking about how like there's these 2 people behind him that didn't like it. In my case, it was 2 people right next to us that was like right next to me. One lady was like, "Wow, that was a worst movie I've seen."
Yeah, it's just it's sad, but I also get it. So
it's not a movie for everybody. So if you are planning to go watch it, keep that in mind.
Yes.
It is a very slow movie. It's very jarring
it's very claustrophobic as well. That's what I told my buddy at the theater before he went and saw it today. I was like, it's real claustrophobic, I'll tell you that. And that's the first thing he said to me. He was like, you were right.
Yeah.
And
it's overbearing too.
Yeah, almost like a trigger warning for it.
I mean, there should be a trigger warning because they do talk about bulimia and a little bit of the more depressive
just
tendency to like hurt yourself.
Yeah.
Cutting. So just keep that in mind.
Yeah. Like I said though, it's a great movie. Probably top 5 in this year. I'm gonna say that about 5 other movies probably by the end of the year.
Yeah.
Because we still got like House of Gucci.
What about Spider-Man, Will?
I'm so excited, man. But I'm gonna be like 10 out of 10.
It's gonna be your top 5.
Entertainment value, I'm gonna say like 20. Special case. Anyways, though, that's been our big feature film review for the week. Actually, we'll probably have another one soon, or it already came out. I don't know. Belfast, we're doing that, so make sure you subscribe if you want to see a review on Belfast. We actually got to see it a little bit early, so we're gonna get that out.
We had a security guard pointing guns at us.
Yes, kind of
true story.
Watch out. But as always, like if you enjoyed, comment down below who's your favorite royal family. Anyways, though, thank y'all for watching.
Inbreds.
We've been the Continuity Crew. I'm Will. That's Wit. And as always, thank y'all for watching. We'll see y'all in the next one. Bye.